Let's be real, we've all been there. That moment of failure that just leaves you feeling completely lost. But what if there was a playbook for getting back on your feet? Not just for you, but for our communities too. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful model for restoration, all inspired by Loren Larson's teachings on the ancient words of Psalm 51. So, why do we even need to talk about this? Well, as Loren Larson points out, a lot of the time our communities just don't have a healthy way to deal with failure. When somebody messes up, we kind of freeze. We don't know how to help. And honestly, when we're the one who falls, we often have no clue how to get back up ourselves. So, to fix that, Larson lays out this incredibly simple but really profound three-step model. Just think of it like a journey. First, you go home, getting back to your foundation. Then, you grow strong by doing the internal work. And finally, you go tell, sharing what you've learned with others. It's a clear path from feeling broken all the way back to finding your purpose again.
All right, let's dive into that first step, go home. And no, I don't mean you need to pack a suitcase. This is all about returning to the absolute bedrock of your faith, especially after a failure. And that bedrock has a name, justification.
So what in the world is justification? Well, picture a courtroom for a second. It's like God is the judge and he declares you not guilty. Not because you did everything right, but simply because you put your trust in what Christ did. And this is a game changer, right? It means your relationship with God isn't some kind of performance review. It's a permanent status.
Now, when you get that, it completely flips the script on what repentance even is. It's not about groveling to try and earn your way back into God's good graces. Nope. For someone who's justified, it's just about agreeing with God that, yeah, you messed up, taking full responsibility, and then reaffirming that you still trust what He did for you is enough. It's what Larson calls a divine do-over. I love that.
Okay, to make this idea really stick, Larson gives us this incredible mental picture, a bridge.
Imagine your spiritual life as a walk across a giant canyon. The kind of bridge you're on, well, it changes everything. If you're on a weak bridge, one built out of your own good deeds, it's rickety. It doesn't matter how strong you are. One little stumble, and you could fall right through. But if you're on the strong bridge of justification, the one built by Christ, you can stumble. You can fall flat on your face, but the bridge itself holds you up. Your safety is guaranteed by the strength of the bridge, not by your own perfect balance.
And here is the huge mental shift. When you fail, you don't fall away from God. You fall onto the foundation of what Christ has already done for you. The foundation holds you, not the other way around. That right there is the incredible security you find when you go home.
So once you're standing firm on that strong bridge, the journey's not over. That's where step 2 comes in, grow strong. This is all the internal work that starts on that secure foundation. And a theological name for this process is sanctification.
Sanctification is really a two-part thing. As Larson explains it, there's a specific moment at salvation where you are set apart for God, but it's also a lifelong process, a continuous journey of being transformed from the inside out.
And listen, this next point is absolutely critical to get. At salvation, you are freed from the dominion of sin. Its power to rule over you has been completely broken. But, and this is a big but, you are not freed from the presence of sin. You're still going to face temptation. So the battle isn't about trying to defeat an enemy that's got you in a chokehold. It's about learning to live out the victory that has already been won for you. So how does this growing strong actually work in real life? Well, the model points to these 5 pleas from David in Psalm 51 as a kind of roadmap. You can see the progression, right? It starts by asking for a clean heart and a renewed spirit, then relying on God's presence, then rediscovering the joy of it all, and finally being held up by Him. This is the blueprint for the real internal work of sanctification. So, you've gone back to your foundation, you've started the internal work of growing strong. So where does all that lead? Well, the process naturally turns itself outward, and that brings us to the third and final step, go tell.
And the logic here is just so natural. When you've really experienced this kind of freedom and healing, it's almost impossible to keep it to yourself. Real restoration was never meant to be a private trophy you keep on a shelf. It overflows into this desire to see other people find that same freedom.
And you can see this exact pivot point in David's prayer. After all these cries for his own personal forgiveness and renewal, his focus just shifts. He says, then, as in after I've been restored, I will teach transgressors. His personal restoration becomes the fuel for his public purpose.
You know, we see such a powerful example of this in the Apostle Paul. He famously said he was free from all men, but then he chose to become a servant to all.
For Paul, freedom wasn't a permission slip to do whatever he wanted. It was the power and the ability to serve everyone else.
Paul's strategy for going and telling was a masterclass in being both principled and flexible. He felt this deep obligation, like he was a debtor who owed it to the world to share the message. He lived his message with integrity first, but he was also a brilliant communicator, changing his approach for different cultures while never, ever watering down the core truth. His goal was so simple and so powerful that I might, by all means, save some.
So, let's zoom out. Why does this three-step model matter so much? Let's look at the big picture here. This isn't just about a single person recovering. It's a blueprint for building healthier, more restorative communities.
So here it is, the whole journey in one spot. You go home, which is all about the security of justification. You grow strong, which is the internal process of sanctification. And that experience makes you want to go tell, which is what we call ministry. It's a complete, powerful cycle of restoration.
So what this gives us is one clear blueprint. Just imagine replacing our usual reactions to failure, the shame, the judgment, the confusion, with a constructive, step-by-step path forward. That's the power of this model, not just for us as individuals, but for our communities too.
And this really is the ultimate goal. The idea is to shift away from a culture that just throws people away when they fail and move toward one that actually knows how to walk with them through this process. It's about building communities that are skilled in restoration, not just in condemnation.
So that leaves us with a really important question to think about. If we truly embraced a model like this, how would it change our response to our own failures? And maybe more importantly, how would it completely transform our response to failure in others?